Yo, what is up, gamers? It's Sebastian coming to a brand new video. Now, here I have a special treat for you guys. Here's a video that doesn't feature me. I know you guys would love that. This is a deck profile that my friend Liam is doing. He went to a regional, got top 4 with Ignister. At Ignister, I think that's the Twitter handle of the deck, not his. But he played Ignister at regional, got top 4, did a deck profile that I can show you guys. I'm just doing a little introduction because he doesn't actually introduce himself in the video. But yeah, this is Liam. This isn't me. I don't think we look alike, but some people might have gotten confused, so just to clarify that, yeah, this is not me, but do enjoy his profile. Listen to everything he says. He sounds great. He's also smart, very good. And yeah, just enjoy, and be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you gamers after the deck profile.
Namaste. Last weekend, I went to the Derry WCQ, and I got 3rd place playing Ignister, which is the only deck I own, and so is the only deck I brought. I don't think it's particularly strong right now, but it has some advantageous matchups into the meta that I think are worth looking at if you're looking to play what is functionally boneless prank kids. So let's get into it. So the main deck, standard Ignister ratios for the most part. 3 Achichi, 3 Picari. They are starter monsters. This format, you generally want to be normal summoning Picari, because it's the monster that can search the Reborn, and the best place to Ogre Ignister is the normal summon, and Ogre is an exceptionally common hand trap this format. If you Ogre the field spell, the only thing you do is you take them off the Negate from Danmari, which is decent, but you're not stopping their combo at the end of the day. Whereas if they normal summon Ichichi, you Ogre it, and they don't have a Reborn or the field spell in hand to extend already, you've achieved nothing. Smaller Ignisters. 2 Doyon, 1 Baruru, and Hiyari. In the OCG they play 1 Doyon. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to play 1 Doyon. Being able to search Doyon with the follow-up that your combo naturally gets you is always very useful, because Doyon is the only Ignister that sort of forces 2 interruptions on his on-summon effect and then his on-link material effect, which can be used to recur the Rota to put it back to hand, so you can use it for follow-up on further turns, or if you've had to use the Reborn spell, for example, you can also use it to search that back, which is just insane in a grind game. The problem being that you can basically always search Picari in that same situation, and it just becomes a 1 negate situation, where if you summon Picari, you search the Reborn, which searches Doyon, which gets Chi-Chi back, and then you get the Reborn back when you link off Doyon, but it's a bit weaker to interaction, and you generally don't want to enter a grind game where you've started to lose your resources like Danmari and like Wind Pegasus. Baruru, Searchable off Cyber's Wicked. I was thinking of playing it at 2 because I'm playing Small World, and it serves as a nice bridge to some of the level 3 hand traps, but I'm also just not playing that many of the level 3 hand traps. That being said, you don't really need to run it at 2 either. It's nice to always be able to add off Cyber's Wicked to keep your advantage in hand, but once again, not necessary at all. Hiyari is my extender of choice, playing Gachiri also. Hiyari can of course search Gachiri, no Doshin, because in any situation where I found I would want Doshin, I can just as easily get to Gachiri through the Rota, or Hiyari itself, or just search Hiyari through Ichichi anyway. And then final main decking is the Danmari, just to send off Baruru. There's some applications where if you're going second and you get stopped on Infant, so you don't have access to the field spell, you can declare an attack with Infant on attack declaration, Danmari effect, to negate the attack, summon itself from hand. This can then walk over something like a Winder, for example, provided that they haven't blocked your special summon for the turn already. I didn't run into any invoked over the weekend, but small interactions like that, very useful to know. Standard Ignister spells. 3 Rota, you need to play 3. 1 Fighting Spirit, 1 Idle Reborn. Having an extra Reborn with a unique name, with a unique card once per turn even, that you can use extra time per turn, is very useful. 2 Field Spell. Not playing Eye Contact, not playing a 3rd Field Spell, and a Terraforming. I have found that I can either put myself on having drawn the Field Spell already when my opponent interacts with Dark Infant, or alternatively, I can just play better cards than more Field Spells. And I think in this format specifically, where you need to run a lot of hand traps to be able to play, cutting down the field spell is the easiest thing to cut. Losing eye contact is a bit frustrating because it makes back row matchups a bit more difficult, but you're not facing that many back row matchups either, so you don't really need to worry about it. 3 sign-up mining. One day we will have a better card than this to use for our consistency, but until then we have to play this bad card. And then I was also playing Small World. And I was also playing this Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah as a Small World bridge. You don't need to play a bridge. All the Ignisters bridge quite nicely anyway. This is just a bridge to get me from any non-light Ignister into Nibiru, which I found is really, really good just for blocking follow-up. And also, you can search it as well with Small World, going from basically anything in your deck through the Ignisters. It's very good versus Cybus Eldritch. It's very good versus Sky Striker, regular Eldritch as well. It actually did come up. My round 1 was against Sky Striker. He made me go first after I lost the die roll. I normal summon a Chi-Chi, resolves, Infant, Ash, okay, Small World, reveal, scale, and he can't play. He has to Mystic Mind me, I draw later on and out, and then I win the game from there. Let's go into hand traps. Standard hand traps. Nibiru, best hand trap in the format. Ghost Ogre, second best hand trap in the format. And then I wanted to only be playing hand traps that double hand trapped my opponent into heavy combo boards. So I was playing 3 Effect Veiler and 3 Imperm. I wasn't playing Ash because of that theory. It doesn't hand trap very well into Baron. You can argue that it hand traps into Prank Kid Brave, for example, because you can Ash the Fateful Adventure. I'm not so much of a fan because it's just not quite as modular. This, for example, stops Cyber Eldritch from playing, whereas Ash Blossom doesn't at all, unless you're ashing and Signet Mining, which is already a bad card. You should really just be building to, I think, beat the powerful Brave decks, and I think these trade with them very well. These two also being more modular and being able to stop Griffin on your own turn. Standard generic spells then. Playing 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Call by the Grave. I quite like Cosmic Cyclone. It's done me quite well this format. Hitting into back row matches which aren't very regular, you can just set 5. You don't really want to go blind sniping, you just start playing. Like, okay, normal summon a Chi-Chi, skill drain, cool, Cosmic. And that's dealt with. Into Cyber Eldritch, if they have, maybe they have a Griffin setup even, but you have like an Ogre as well. This functionally serves as a double hand trap, which once again goes with the same theory behind why I was running my hand traps in the first place. And Call by the Grave is the best card in the game, so. Moving on to the extra deck. Arrival. I've seen some OCG lists citing this, which I think is interesting. I don't know if I'd do that myself, but obviously we don't have Heat Soul over here, so we don't really have like a draw engine to go into. Anytime I summon this, I win the game. Which basically means that anytime I play through a small, low impact hand trap or I don't get nibbed, I win the game. Given that my opponent only has 3 nib in their 40 card deck, or 3 nib in their 60 card deck even, in the decks that I'm looking to play against in Prank Kid Brave and the Synchro variants, I like my chances, is what I'm saying. Access Code Talker should be legal. should not be illegal. It's a stupid card, and it's even more stupid in Cybus decks. It's really nothing to say. Everyone knows what this card does. Is there anything special that this card does in Ignister? Kind of. You can go through the standard combo that would make a rival, and then instead of making a rival from the Templar and the 3 Ignisters, you just go Update Jammer Transcode. Update Jammer effect, Transcode can attack twice. It's co-linked at this point, so they can't Veiler it. Transcode to bring back Update Jammer and Templar into access code. You've got a 58 access code that can attack twice, and a 28 transcode that can attack twice, and you can't lose to Imperm Veiler. They have to nib you here. Speaking of Templar. Standard combo piece. Small micro play that came up at the weekend that I was pretty proud of was my opponent had 1 card in hand, they had a Red Rose Dragon on field. I go Field Spell, summon out Picari search Reborn, get back Doyon, add back a Chi-Chi, normal summon a Chi-Chi, Templar, that's summon 4, Battle Phase, Templar, over the Red Rose, Templar effect to summon back 3, start of main phase 2, my opponent tries to nib me, I call a Judge, because you can't do that, and I make Templar a rival as not summon 5, but the only summon after 5 that he could interact with, and I won the game from there, which is the only match I lost as well, but sometimes you break, eh? Fire Phoenix, it's going to be replaced by Heat Soul. The fringe scenarios where this is useful is just wildly eclipsed by how useful Heat Soul is. Drawing 2 cards is crazy. Transcode Talker, really good. Considering playing this at 2 when Heat Soul comes out and just going through this instead of Splash Mage in the Arrival line, just because being able to bring back Heat Soul is good. You can also just go for Splash Mage later on, and then a second Transcode helps in the grind because Transcode doesn't bring back Negated, so it can bring back Splash Mage, which can bring back something like a Doyon. Even though it's negated, you can then link it off and get back one of your Ignister spells. Very useful. Splash Mage, like I said, combo piece, really useful. Has niche scenarios where you can, not necessarily niche scenarios, actually it comes up pretty often, where you can summon Bururu off the field spell under Splash Mage. Splash Mage brings back a level 4. That'll be negated, and then you sync Bururu and the level 4 off for the Synchro Monster. Bururu's effect brings it back, not negated. Very, very useful to go through. Happens in your standard combo line, but obviously good to know when to do when you're actually just playing a bit of a grind game, a more complicated game state. Update Jammer. There's a scenario come up maybe once where I've used its actual effect on field, but most of the time you're just using it to make Axis Code attack twice. Cyber's Wicked. Really want this to get a foiling in Ghost from the Past 2. This card is really, really good. If you get Dimension Shifted on a Chi-Chi, you just go, okay, cool. You go Infant, get Field Spell, Picari, Picari get Rota, make Cyber's Wicked, pass. Flunder needs to invest a significant amount of resources to actually deal with this. And you're playing Ignister, so you have a lot of hand traps anyway. Something they might have to do is just go through a Riser line, which leaves them vulnerable to Nibiru, because they won't be able to summon a barrier statue unless they've also got Map out. Security Dragon, just because I'm main decking Nibiru and I need some way to link off without having 2 more monsters on field to go for Transcode Talker. Link ones. I'm only playing 2 Infant. I used to be playing 3 when I was playing the 3 field spell, Terraforming Eye Contact, but if you're not always searching the field spell, you don't really need to do it. Also, going for a 6k Arrival Cybers is really risky this format because it loses to Ogre. So you only ever need 2. Even in situations where you're hand trapped back to back on turns, you get your Infant Ash turn 1 and turn 3. You can always just use Doyon to put it back and just go for it turn 5. Isn't that fun? Link Spider, because you're going to get Nibiru at this format. Light Dragon, Wind Pegasus. Both of these are good monsters in their own right. There will come situations where you need to search Bururu with the Rota. They're pretty rare, but when they come up, you will be really thankful you're playing it. It's much better than Cyber's Quantum Dragon. Cyber's Quantum Dragon, once again, goes through the line that loses to Ogre, and doesn't really out that much. A lot of people are playing generic negation in the main deck anyway, and so you really wouldn't want to make yourself lose to something that you wouldn't otherwise lose to, right? This is really good for just sitting in your graveyard as well. If you are going to get Nibiru'd, if it's just in your graveyard and you've got a big Nibiru token, if they summon it under Templar, it will never be bigger than the Nibiru itself, but it's still something that can always just shuffle back and it forces a negate. So, in a sense, double hand trapping. Light Dragon has 3 effects and all of them are crazy. It's non-targeting destruction, it's Dingirsu, and also it helps play around Nibiru when you're going for lethal, because if you've got a rival and follow-up, you can use the Road to search for Doyon, add back Picari, normal summon Picari, make Light Dragon, that's 3 summons, battle phase, 4000, effect, summon back 23, 23, 23, you've got lethal. A minor thing about Security Dragon that I didn't mention is this deck has non-varied interaction, or sort of removal effects. It doesn't really have banishes. The only thing it really has is Security Dragon being able to return something like a UFD back to the extra deck, same with Wind Pegasus. So it's really useful to have those monsters. Side deck. 3, Gamma, and Driver. It's insane. It's the best going second card in the game. Even helps play around Droll, rather. If you go Sign It Mining out of Chi-Chi, Droll, Gamma. Cooked. 3 Droll itself. I think this card is very good. I think a lot of people don't like this card, this format, and I don't necessarily know why. It's obviously a bit weak to main deck, because you will just find a lot of situations where it's completely dead, whereas even something like an Ogre in a bad matchup isn't awful. But this is very crippling against basically every Brave deck in the format. It can oftentimes just take them off Griffin, which in that case contributes to a double hand trap that will help something like a Nibiru resolve. Into Brave Pranks, if they open sort of the God hand, right, like 2 Prank Kids and Right, this takes them from Butler, DP, Griffin, Pranks with Meow put back and a draw in hand to Butler, DP. And they don't even get Pranks in rotation. It's really, really insane, even into matchups that historically it's been bad into, just because the Brave engine is so weak to it. I was playing these. I didn't side into them. I don't think. I think I might have sided into them versus Sky Striker, but I didn't play back row matchups. They were fine. It's always nice to have them, but nobody's playing back row this format except for the Stun Lich pilot to the top guard of YCS. This card has been overperforming for me this format, but I didn't really find a good time to side into it during the regional because I was losing die rolls. I was losing die rolls and 2-0ing. I lost 4 die rolls to 1-2. I won all the games I lost the die rolls for. It was only round 2 where I won the die roll that actually lost the match itself. So just didn't find a good scenario to side these in. But they're crazy because you can use them on activation of Rite of Aramesia. And they have an advantage over Gozen match, and Based and Prank Kids can all play around Gozen on Rite of Aramesia because of Roxy's and Xiaomin. Whereas no deck is playing a main deck fairy that they can easily get out under the Brave token. I didn't side this card in, but I have sided it in before. It's really nice to have a searchable out to Prank Kids, and Ignister oftentimes struggles with opening too much of its own engine. In this case, searching this with Picari sort of alleviates that issue. It means that Picari is searching an interruption. 2 Ignisters is more interruption, which is something you really want to see. Red Reboot, another just anti-back row card. And the Primal Being token. Your boss monster. You're going to be seeing this a lot. My matchups were Sky Striker, Tenyi Brave, which I think is this deck's worst matchup. That was the match I lost. Blackwing in round 3, which they went first, Kali Yugen me, and then they went second, and then I went first, and I set up a combo. Then they went first game 3, and they had to play into 18 hand traps. And good luck, Rogue deck. You will surely do that. Round 4 I was against Dino. Won the die roll, went first, set up a rival, somehow didn't get lethaled. Game 2, he made me go first, set up a rival. He did not have a hand that could beat a rival. 5, I was against Dragon Link. Lost the dice roll. Seal Savage, couldn't beat it, weak hand. Went game 2, made a rival. In fact, I didn't make a rival actually. I got Ash on Infant, set Cosmic. He draws. He had Noctivision, Black Dragon, Noctivision, Absa Called by the Grave. And I Cosmic his Called by the Grave, and it's just game from there. My final round was against Phantom Knights. Once again, lost the die roll. 2-0. This deck trades very well with DPE, but actually, Phantom Knight of the decks that are somewhat popular is a bit of a hard matchup because this deck does not trade very well into Fog Blades. It's very hard to get the targeting lock online. You need a lot of monsters on field. And at any point, you can just sort of eat several Fog Blades and lose, which is why Draw and Lock helps in that matchup now. Yeah. I had a very good time playing at the regional. This is my second regional. The first regional I bubbled at, so I was very happy to come back with a vengeance, taking names, and I look forward to playing stronger decks in the current format.